Do you feel like your partner cares about everybody else and you come last? Hi there, and welcome back to Ask Dr. Syra, the show where I answer your questions about personal growth, mental health, and relationships. Today's question comes from Jaden. Jaden says, my wife cares about everyone else more than me. I always come last. Usually it's no big deal, but it's starting to get on my nerves. How do I get her attention back on our relationship? My wife cares about everyone else more than me. I always come last. Usually it's no big deal, but it's starting to get on my nerves. How do I get her attention back on our relationship? Well, first of all, congratulations on noticing, because one of the things in couples is that things can deteriorate and nobody notices until it's late, and sometimes until it's too late. And so the fact that you're picking up on this, it feels like, okay, there's her attention is other places, and I want it to be with me. That's really important. So I would say congratulations on picking that up and wanting to do something about it. So, well, how do you deal with that? So the first thing I would say is let's look at your love language, right? So you may know that there are 4 different love languages, five different love languages. So there is physical touch, which is the person who likes to have hugs and cuddles and kisses and the physical holding, and that makes them feel loved. There is words of affirmation. So that's the person who likes to hear I love you. They like letters. They like just being told in different ways that they're appreciated. There is acts of service. So that's the person who likes to be looked after, likes things to be taken off their plate, likes to be cared for by somebody doing stuff for them that they would have to do for themselves. So that's acts of service. Then there is quality time. So that's the person who feels loved when they can spend time with their romantic partner and they're just together in the same space and actually focus and paying attention on each other. And then there's gift giving, which is the 5th language, which is about somebody feels loved when they receive gifts. And to be fair, all of us have all of these styles. Like if you look at little kids, they have all 5. But as we grow, we'll tend to kind of gravitate towards 1 or maybe 2 that most resonate with us. So in my relationship, for example, my love language is words of affirmation. I love the letters and the emails and the text messages and being told. And so what happens generally is that whatever love language you like is the one that you also speak. Right? So the way that you feel loved is how you tend to love others. And so one of the things I had to kind of navigate in my marriage was that my husband's love language is not words of affirmation. It's quality time, right? So he's happy to go on a long drive where we're not really talking much, just kind of spending time together. And to him, that feels like he feels really cared for and really loved. Whereas for me, if he's not actually telling me how great I am, I'm not feeling very loved. So it's a problem, right? If you don't really know. So the reason I bring this up is you say that she pays attention to everyone else more than you. And I wonder if you're observing that because your love language is not getting met. So she might be, for example, spending time with a lot of other people besides you. And for you, quality time might be your love language. But maybe for her, she has a different love language. And so she feels she's showing you love, but you don't feel loved. You see, this is really important. She feels she's showing you love, but you don't feel loved. And so if you can figure out what are your 2 love languages and what to do about that, how to actually connect with each other through your love languages. So an example would be, I'll go back to my example, right? So mine is physical touch. My second close one is, my words of affirmation, and then also physical touch is important to me. So we used to do this thing on Sundays where my husband would be like watching football and I'd be puttering around the house. And at the end of the day, he thought that was a wonderful time that we spent together. And I would be so furious because I felt like we did not spend any time together. All you care about is your football. And once we started learning about love languages, we shifted that. So now what we do on Sundays is that he watches his football. I sit on the couch with him. So it's quality time for him. It's like I'm around. I might be doing my own thing, reading or doing my mandala coloring or something, but every so often he'll like put his hand on my foot and like massage my foot a little bit, or he might throw out a random comment like, "Oh, you made such a great dinner last night," something like that. So he's speaking my language and I'm speaking his language. And now at the end of a Sunday, we feel like we've bonded, right? But before, because we weren't understanding each other's love languages, we just thought that the other person didn't care. So, number one, figure out your love language and their love language, and then notice if they are actually showing you that you're loved, but not maybe in the way that you're expecting or that you're hoping for. That's the first thing I would say about that. The second thing I would say is that in a marriage, it was a marriage, right? My wife? Yeah, my wife. In a marriage, we can sometimes set ourselves up to compete with each other, right? And we can set ourselves up sometimes to feel like we're in competition with other people in that person's life. So we might feel like we're in competition with your spouse's parents. You might feel like you're in competition with, if your spouse has children from a previous marriage, you might feel like you're in competition with their children. You might feel like you're in competition with their siblings or their work or their friends or whoever, right? So it's like, and that model is like they have only so much attention, they're giving it to someone else, they're not giving it to me. That's kind of the competition model in relationships, and many of us grew up that way, right? Many of us kind of learned how to just be in competition with each other and with our loved ones. I would say that this is an opportunity to shift the mindset from a competition stance to a teamwork stance. Okay, say that again. Shift the mindset from a stance of competition to a stance of teamwork. So in teamwork, it's us and then the world. So not her and then her people and I'm left out, but we, the couple, is the primary team, if you will, and then I support my partner in how she wants to connect with other people in her life. So getting on her team, remembering that you are a team, right? You're not in competition with each other, and you're not in competition with other people trying to grab her time, because then it just feels often for the other person, for the partner, that like, oh, here's one more person who needs something from me, rather than, oh, here's my spouse. They've got me, we've got each other, and now I can go out and do the things that I need to do in the world. So shifting your mind frame from competition to teamwork. The final thing I would say is to have a conversation about it. Have a conversation about it, to be direct about what you're feeling. Now, in that conversation, it's important to be clear about what are your feelings and what are the facts. Okay, sometimes we mix those up. The facts may be that you actually spend several hours together every day. That might be a fact, but the feeling in that is, even though we spend several hours together in a day, I don't feel close to you, or I don't feel like I've got your full attention. I don't feel. So there's facts and there's feelings. And so when having that conversation, be clear, what are the facts and what are your feelings? Your feelings might feel like facts. They are for you, right? But your feelings are subjective. Your feelings are the way that you are seeing something. And so it's important for your partner to know what you feel, but also back it up with the facts, or explain how the facts have kind of created a situation in you where you feel these things. In these kinds of conversations, it's best to do them kind of lightheartedly. It's best to do them when you're both kind of in a good space. I always recommend to my couples, never have a serious conversation after 8 p.m. because people's willpower is down. It's been a day, you're tired, you're not going to be as emotionally regulated. So having those conversations, like on a walk, for example, where it's an easy thing that you're doing together and it can just be something that you bring in, rather than like, we need to talk. That we need to talk approach to couple management can be really difficult for one of the people in the relationship, because it feels like you're in trouble, right? So that's what I would say as far as the 3 things. Figure out your love language, and maybe they are trying to show you love just in a way that you don't really get. Move away from the competition mindset to the teamwork mindset, and then have a conversation and be clear what are the facts and what are the feelings. So hopefully that was helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye.